you created me to worship daily. So I'ma leave it all right here. You did not create me to worry. You did not create me to fear. Oh no, but you created me to worship daily. All right, everybody. I pray that this word helps somebody today. I pray that this word helps somebody today. Help somebody today. Where is my notepad? I don't know, turn it off. Okay, guys, today we're just gonna be talking about the beauty in being still, y'all. Because from my own experience, I noticed that in times where you feel like you've done all that you can do, or that it's nothing happening, everything is at a standstill. And so you start to feel like, well, am I doing everything God told me to do? Or is God with me? I'm like an overachiever type of person, so when I'm not working, I feel like I'm being lazy or slothful or something like that. But we gotta understand that there is beauty. There is beauty in being still, okay? There is beauty in being still. And we're going to talk about a couple of reasons why there is beauty in being still. The first reason I want to talk about is when you are just moving and moving and moving and moving, are you allowing God to work? Hi, everybody. Are you allowing God to work for you? Or are you just trying to do everything in your own strength? Because 9 times out of 10, that's why we be going and going and going and going and going and going. Like, it's a difference between being obedient and doing what God tells you to do, and so to speak, like going before God and just doing things out of your own might, doing things out of just what you think is right. But what I've noticed in this time of like God just sitting me still, and I was kind of like getting frustrated, and I was just like, okay, I feel like I've done everything God told me to do, and I'm just sitting here. But what God let me know is that it was things that he wanted to reveal to me in that time of being still. When you're just moving and you're going from one task to another, you're not allowing God to reveal to you the next steps. You're constantly like just doing and doing and doing whole time. If you just still your thoughts and you just move away from everybody and you just stay in the presence of God, you will begin to see the next. Like he will give you the next step. And the next step, I'm talking about stuff that you probably, thought about but never carried out or whatever the case. And then you sit still long enough and gotta be like, this is the only thing you're missing. This is the only thing that you haven't done yet. And the reason why you are not paying attention to this is because you're constantly on the go. It's a lot of things that make us stay on the go, like the stresses of society, the stresses of having so much bills, and financial stress, and It's so many things that can make you feel like you always got to be on the hustle and bustle, always got to be on the hustle and bustle. And what I'm not saying be lazy. I'm not saying be slothful. I'm not saying wait doing nothing. What I'm saying is being still, which means you're going back before the throne of God and say, God, I've done everything that I know that you told me to do. If there's anything else that you want me to do, God, if there's anything that I'm missing, help me connect the dots. That's when you know that you are humbling yourself, and now you know that you cannot do it without God. Okay? So one good reason why it's beauty in being still is because now you have the clarity of the mind and everything for God to now reveal more things to you. You thought you knew it all. You thought you knew it all. But now God can reveal more things to you because you are giving him that space to move. Okay? Not only revealing, but like I said, you're giving him that space to move. If you're doing everything by yourself, that means that you don't feel like you need God. So you're not allowing him to work for you. You're taking everything into your own hands. So that's crazy. So it's revealed. God will reveal things to you in the time of being still. In the time of being still, you allow him to work. Another thing is you're allowing time for him to work on others. There are people who are assigned to you to help you, but all of them have not come to terms with what God has for them to do. First of all, they don't know their purpose. Secondly, they might still be like shutting doors to certain things. And then as we know, even for ourselves, it was a process for us to get where we at right now. So sometimes being still allows God to work on your behalf in others. You're giving him time to work on them people, okay? It's not all about you. Sometimes there's other people involved in your purpose, in your future, in your calling that God is yet still working on. So having that patience is letting God know, I trust you. That whatever you got for me is coming all together for me. Okay, so that's 3 things. Things will be revealed to you when you're being still. You are allowing God to work for you when you're being still. And you are allowing God to work on others. It's not always easy to get people to come to Christ and to obey. Sometimes it takes a little working. Okay? Just because, think about how long it took you to come to Christ and say, God, I will do whatever you told me to do. So imagine him trying to get that same submission from another person. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, of course, we know that being still is a way for God to build your faith. Build your faith. Let me tell you. I thought I had faith. Okay? I thought I had faith until it was time for me to be still. I was experiencing this one time. As you guys know, I live in Florida. We had a hurricane back in, I want to say, it was somewhere between September and October. And I work from home. So our lights was out for like 4 days. And I got laid off my job because I couldn't work. It was people who lights didn't go off and they could work. So me, I couldn't work. They had no sympathy for that until I got laid off of work. And I didn't know how I was gonna pay my rent, y'all. Didn't know how I was gonna pay my rent. And like literally didn't know because I'm the whole time waiting on my other job to start. So how did this go? I remember I said I wasn't gonna rely on men to do it for me. Because what I realized is when men, I don't care if they claim to be your friends, it can be woman or man is what I'm saying. Man saying woman or man. When you allow man, human beings, to do things for you, it may seem as if it's genuine. But a lot of time it comes with ulterior motive. It comes with people trying to take credit for your success. It comes with people just trying to be attached to your success, which means they want to go where you're going. Not that they want to take credit, but they want to go where you're going. And sometimes it just don't end out well because people have not understood that God put us all here to help each other, right? So if you do something for me, you're not looking for your blessing to come from me. You're looking for your blessing to come from God, okay? But a lot of times people are thinking with their flesh, and um, you know, sometimes people do stuff because they want you to like them, or they doing stuff because, like I said, it's many different reasons why people do things. And I personally am just not into all that. So I want to wait on God, because even though God will send your blessings in the form of other people, God also will send people who do not have ulterior motive if you wait. There are people who know that they're in your life only because they're being obedient to God. Not because they find you attractive, not because they want you to one day like them, not because in the back of their mind they hoping you be their girlfriend. Not because in the back of their mind they're like, oh, if I can just act like I'm her friend, when she come up, I'm gonna come up too. Like, we're not talking about that. We talking about when God sends somebody who knows that they're on an assignment to help you. Okay? So I don't know. I didn't want nobody to do nothing for me, so I prayed and I prayed and I prayed. And I'm talking about the deadline was coming, and it was coming. But I didn't lose faith in God, and I didn't start trying to do it all on my own. You know what I said? I said to God, I said, God, if you want me to live here, you're gonna pay my rent. And if you don't, if it's somewhere else you want me to be, I'm you're gonna show me, because I'm gonna have to move. You know what I'm saying? Thankful to God, all things worked out for my good. But I think that the reason, not that I think, a lot of times God will wait until the last minute to see how you react. I used to be a dancer. I could have got so frustrated that I went back to my old ways and said, look, I know where to go get that money from. You hear me? But I just know that my life is never going back to what it used to be. So I had to wait on God, and I had to wait on God, and I had to believe in God, and I had to trust God. And I had to tell myself, no matter what it looks like, you're not going back to your old life. No matter what it looks like, that's not what God called you to do. If you go back to your old life and you try to do it on your own, that means what? You do not trust God. You do not trust the words that He spoke over your life. You do not believe that He can do all things. You do not believe that He is a God that breaks protocol. He will break protocol for you. He will go against the things that people see to be normal. He will go against what people say the paperwork is supposed to look like. He will go against what people say the income is supposed to look like. Because for His children, God will break protocol. And you got to believe it. You got to believe it. So, I mean, like, I could have got so discouraged and felt that I could have just went and like, God, you promised me this, and you can't be here with me, and you told me to do all this, and you told me to change my life, and you told me I could have done that, but I kept the faith, even when I cried, even when I was hurting, even when I didn't know if I was gonna lose my house or not. I kept just praying, and I kept saying, God, I know you're gonna do it for me. I know you're gonna do it for me. I don't know how. I kept saying, I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know when, but I know you're gonna do it for me. And y'all, He came through like He always do. And I had to keep remembering that when I lived in Georgia, I had the biggest, beautiful house in the nicest neighborhood. Literally, where the buses come straight to the front of the neighborhood to pick up my kids from school. I mean, I literally wanted nothing. And I lived in that beautiful home all for free because of a scammer and a mishap that had nothing to do with me. But before I got that house, I prayed and I said, God, um, you know, cover my money. I'm gonna choose this house and blah blah blah. Come to find out, the people did not own the house. But when I went to court, the owner gave me time, and it ended up being a whole year that I lived there for free. They kept my lights and my water on. They didn't bother me until God said it was time for me to move. And God showed me in a dream, vision, however you call it, a big April 7th. April 7th. God is so good. By April 7th came, I was literally moving out of my house. I didn't know what April 7th meant because He showed me many dreams at that time. So I didn't know which one with what. But this year, God is so good. I've been seeing a lot of the prophecies that He showed me actually come to life. But I didn't know when my day was coming for me to move. I was asleep one day, and I had another vision of me going to hit the light switch, and the lights didn't come on. So the whole time I'm living in this house, I'm not knowing when my day is coming. But when I woke up this one day, April 7th, and I hit that light switch and the lights were off, That's how I knew that the prophecy of God was coming to pass. And that's just when I knew I had to move. But God had gave me enough time to save. He had gave me enough time to, know where I was going and everything. But when I lived in Georgia for a whole year and God took care of me, I moved there with no car. Some of y'all probably know this testimony. I moved there with no car. And I was walking to the store one day. And anybody who know anything about Georgia, it's not no sidewalks in a lot of places. And I lived in South Atlanta, Ellenwood. And I was walking and I was like, God, I don't know how I'm going to survive out here without no car. 3 days later, I went to sleep and I woke up to an email saying that I was approved for a car that I never applied for. I had never applied for this car. And not only did I get approved for the car, sometimes they give you pre-approvals. This was actually the loan servicer, the finance company sending me this email telling me I'm approved for this car. I know good and well I never applied for them because I didn't even know who they were. So 3 days after I told God, like, I don't know how I'm gonna survive out here. I went to the lot. I only had $1,200. That's all I had. And I told them that was all I had. And I drove off that lot in a brand new 2019 Kia Optima. Okay. The documents wasn't looking like what it was supposed to give. My thing is, what I'm saying is, when God sends you somewhere and he has purpose for you, there will be provision there. But if you do not trust God, you're going to miss something. If you try to go before God, you're going to miss something. When God says, be still and know that I am God, there's beauty in that, because this means that now you've done everything that I needed you to do. It's my turn to work now. That's all it's about. God is saying, do you trust me? It's like your dad, your real father. Do you trust me? Because if you trust me, I'm finna show up and show out for you. But if you don't trust me and you feel like you got it, you can do it all by yourself, okay, by any means. You go ahead and you let me know how that works out for you. Like, really. And another thing, when you put your trust in man, you are letting God know that you don't trust him. When you say, oh, I'm finna just go back to this relationship because I don't know how I'm finna pay my bills, and that means you trust that man that God separated you from more than you trust him. Oh, well, I'm just gonna go back over to my old life and get to slide down that pole because I don't know how I'm gonna pay my bills. You don't trust God. Whatever it is that you're doing that you know you shouldn't be doing, whether it be worrying, whether it be doubting, whether it be conforming to old patterns of life, whether it be staying in codependent relationships, whatever it is, when you rely on man, you're showing God you don't trust him. So what if you ain't giving him room to move because you want a mere human being to work for you, how could you expect God to show up and show out? Because then man is going to take credit for what only he could do. So if you got it all together and you going to trust man before you trust God, he going to step back and say, well, you let me know how that works for you. I'll still be here when you're ready to choose me, but since you got it all together, you let me know how that works for you. It sounds crazy, but it just is what it is. It just is what it is. So, I hope this testimony helps somebody. There's beauty in being still, but don't be still and be lazy. Don't be still and be worrying. Or don't be still and be trying to, in the background, put it all together by yourself. Well, if God don't do it, I know how it's going to happen. What you mean if God don't do it? If you asked him and you believe that he would, he will. I didn't sit and try to figure out, well, if God don't do it, this how I'm going to get the rent paid. I didn't know how I was going to get the rent paid. How I'm going to try to figure out if he don't do it, how I'm going to do it. I don't know how it's going to get done. Okay? But when you get to that point where you fully relying on God, that's when you see miracles happen. Because then, and only then, you know, this could have only been God. This could have only been God. It wasn't because of my ex. It wasn't because of my own strength. It wasn't because of all of this and that. It's because I waited on God and I told him, God, I need you. I don't know how it's going to get done. I need you. I can't do it by myself. What's the name of that song? You did not create us to worry. You did not create us to fear. But guess what? But you created me to worship daily. So I'ma leave it all right here. Leave it all at the feet of God. Help me say it. For real, for real. Hey, Jessica. I ain't been here in a minute, girl. I gotta tell the testimony of why I ain't on here. And those weren't it. Those were not it. I'm gonna eventually tell it. But I usually stay on for like an hour or more. But we ain't gonna drag this out. We ain't gonna add nothing to what God gave me to tell y'all. That is it. That is all. I pray that this word bless y'all. And y'all, the avocado mask is working. The hair is growing, okay? But I love y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with somebody who you think needs to hear it. And I will see y'all in my next video. Love you, Jessica. Have a good day.